All right, happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to the second installment of the construction education series put on by SolidCAD. And this week, the topic of conversation is going to be building connected. So we can just flip forward to the next slide, and I'm going to do a couple of slides here to do the introduction, and then we'll get right into the good stuff, which is all about the solutions. So I've got with me today, I'm Andrew Cole with SolidCAD. I'm on the right-hand side of the pictures here. And then with me today, I've got Luke Hester, who is a technical solutions executive from Autodesk, and he is well-rounded in a number of products. Today, of course, he will be talking about building connected and that builders network that is so powerful in terms of pre-construction and doing a lot of the different tasks that we need to get done in terms of connecting with other contractors, trades, and owners, and all those different people. So there's one more session that's going to come up on the 22nd. If you haven't registered yet, please jump on and get registered for that as well. That last one is going to be on PlanGrid, and Luke will also be hosting that one or presenting during that one. So we can flip forward to the next slide, Luke. And before we do anything, it's for some people that were on last week, we had a great session on Assemble. So some of this will be a bit of a repeat for you, but there are people on today that weren't on last week. So just want to remind people what SolidCAD does. And ultimately what we do is we help people adopt their technology. And we want to make sure that people are getting the most out of their investment from technology, whatever that may be. So our goal is really to help people do the best with what they have and then help them make that even better, right? So taking good to great. And you can see here some of the things that we do in terms of design, manage, and share. And if we go forward to the next slide, we get into the service offering. And I'm not going to go through talking about each one of these different services, but I did want to put it in front of people so you can visually see what those different services are that we offer. And there's a wide range of them. And some of them here, you'll notice, are maybe not so prevalent in the construction industry. You can see some manufacturing pieces there. We are working across manufacturing as well as civil engineering, and as well as the AEC market. So we do cover a lot of different areas, but those are our services. And when we hit the next slide forward, Luke, these are some of the products that we represent. So on the top left, certainly Autodesk, it's our flagship set of solutions that we represent and what we're going to talk about today. But again, we do also represent some complementary applications, things like CTC tools there, which is powerful with Revit. Scanning software that's going to be used in many different areas. So if you want to learn more about any of these products, services, certainly we're here to help. And if you need any more information, you can contact myself or SolidCAD. And I think that is my last slide, just a little introduction to SolidCAD. And now we're going to get into the agenda for today. So today it's all about the builders network and connecting each other. That trying to find the right people to do the work for you, or if you're looking to do the work for somebody, you want to be invited to those bids. This is what the session is going to be about today. You can see the bullet points in terms of what Luke is going to cover, but ultimately it's all about connecting. So it's the LinkedIn for construction, if you will. How do you find the right person? How do you do all those different things that you need to do quickly and effectively? Because of course it can be extremely time consuming trying to connect with all the right people. So with that, Luke, I'm going to hand it over to you. I'm going to turn off my webcam so I'm not a distraction. And sure. Luke, the floor is yours.
All right, thanks a lot, Andrew, and hey everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Today we're going to be going over BuildingConnected's BidBoard Pro product. And as Andrew mentioned, here's a high-level agenda, which is going to be talking at a very high level, and I'm going to be working through the platform itself, just kind of going through an overview of how to create a project, how to leverage the builders network, which is really, like Andrew mentioned, that LinkedIn, so to speak, of the construction industry, where we can really connect in real time owners and builders on a really just easy to use web-based platform that streamlines the bid and risk management processes. So with that, I'm actually going to switch over right into the web browser where I'm on a project overview page. I'm looking at some projects, and this is my profile. You can see I'm logged in. Here's my picture, and I can see my project list here. And you'll notice that I have a couple different tabs up at the top. What we're looking at here is an active project list, a closed project list, and then some other templates that we can utilize as we kind of do a repeatable process. Before I get too much farther into the demonstration here, just a little bit about myself. As Andrew mentioned, I'm a technical solutions executive, and I'm just part of a group of people that are formerly from the building industry. So my role is kind of to go through high-level demonstrations with general contractors and owners and subcontractors. And today specifically, we're going to be going over the BuildingConnected suite of products here, where we can talk about at a high level general contractors and subcontractors talking with each other in a bid management process. So really the idea here is to focus on digitizing workflows in the planning and bidding and procurement phases. So just in that high level overview of the product here, like I said, we're talking about a project list. And really, as we go through this demonstration, what I'm going to be showing you is just how easy it is to create a brand new project. So let's go ahead and start that process here. So we can see that by creating a new project, just all of the basic project information would need to be inputted here. And we can just use this to collect all the information and communicate out to our contractors. Maybe we'll just call this project XYZ, just for an example here. And I can communicate out to my project team or my potential bidders that maybe I have a bid due date next week. I can put in the location. So we'll just use Toronto as a general location. And that's going to become pretty important when we go in to try to locate subcontractors for this project. We can communicate out information like maybe a job walk date that's occurring. Also, when some RFIs maybe are due back in a few weeks, I can communicate that out to the project team, as well as some expected start and finish dates. So we'll go ahead and just put in some hypothetical dates here, give a couple month progress here. And then we can include also, scrolling down here, a section called private information. Now this private information section is only going to be visible to members of my internal organization, and it's to really track internal metrics, and it's going to become pretty important when we talk about some of our analytics later in the presentation. But again, this is all private information that's part of your team's tracking internally, and I can do things like track my account managers and maybe look at different market sectors and try to find out what market sectors are we winning in the most, or maybe what project or account managers having the most success this quarter. So that's really important when it comes to internal tracking. But next, just to create this project, I'm going to complete this setup process by clicking on this orange button. And that's going to actually drop me into the project. And you can see here that this project is not yet published, so it's only viewable to myself internally. And of course, my next step in this setup process will be to go ahead and provide some files. You can see I'm in the Files tab of this project. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually drag and drop in some information from my other screen here. And I'm just going to upload maybe a bid package with some conceptual schedule information. We also have some PDF drawings, maybe an NDA that needs to be communicated out. So this is just some example documentation. I can, of course, create different subfolder hierarchies here within the platform and create any sort of organizational structure that I need to here as well. Now moving next to the next tab, this information tab is just to be able to go back and edit any of that initial project information that we first created upon initial project setup. And then also our next step here would be to add our internal team members. So right now you can see this is just myself that's a member of the team here. But I can go ahead and I can utilize the first step of leveraging the network here. I can type in people's names here. So maybe if I have Taylor here, she may be an estimator on my internal team. I can invite her to the project and she'll be included now. I can designate her as the lead. Maybe I can go ahead and set up, I want to make sure that she's going to be able to have all the pertinent information when it comes to this project. And I can also control some of the notification settings here as well. So if I want to make sure that Taylor receives all of the communications on this project, I can go ahead and I can set that up here as well. So someone like a bid manager may be overseeing these projects on the initial setup side of things and then designating out to estimators on the team processes that are specific to the project. So one of the more one of the more powerful features of BuildingConnected Pro is a feature called bid forms. And prior to BuildingConnected, general contractors would receive bids via email or even fax, and sometimes just physical hard copies. And each bidder would typically just use their own format and naming conventions, which would make it very difficult to compare bids. And bid forms gives you an easy way to ask all your bidders the same standardized questions and keep that consistent formatting across them all. This is going to be really important when this information is then ported over to BuildingConnected's bid leveling tool, which we'll get to a little later in the demonstration. And there's really two types, excuse me, there's two types of bid forms in BuildingConnected. Those are project level bid forms, and then there's also scope specific bid forms. Now, project level bid forms, those are going to be questions that you ask every type of vendor or contractor, regardless of what they do. And these are basic questions about their company's structure, maybe the past experiences, certifications, bonding capacity, questions like that. Where scope-specific bid forms dial into more specific questionnaires around specific scopes of work. That might include things like detailed cost breakdowns or alternates. And these forms really help streamline that process and allow for that information to flow into the forms without the need of manually transposing that information from maybe scanned PDF documents or anything that's being emailed to you. What's pretty nice is you actually have the ability to import a form. So you're looking at other projects in my BuildingConnected environment where I can go ahead and select a project, and I can go ahead and this is a bid form that I can actually use from a previous project. And you can see here, if I click this edit button, I have the ability to add any questions into these different subsections, questions around fees and markups, labor rates, and I can really build this out. And one of the best things about BuildingConnected really is the first time that you do any of these types of tasks is really the last time that you're going to have to do that initial setup, because these bid templates and bidder forms, they can all be recycled from project to project. So that's a really powerful feature here. Next, what we're going to do is I'm going to actually go into the bid packages section of this project. We'll go ahead and discard those changes. What we're going to do here is I just want to show it just how easy it is to just create a brand new bid package from scratch. So for example, we're creating a brand new bid package, and I can give this a number. I'll just give it a hypothetical number here, but then I can maybe call this an electrical bid package. And you can see here right away that it's actually pulling in that electrical keyword, which is going to become very important when it comes to leveraging that builder's network on BuildingConnected again. So we can then add more information, maybe estimated cost information is here, as well as instructions. Again, communicating all these key dates out to our bidders. And now I'll go ahead and hit save. Now this is going to then drop me into a bidders tab within the electrical bid package in this project XYZ. So just so you guys know where we are, we're inside of a project and we're in that electrical bid package. And now we're going to communicate with specific files here. Again, I'll drop in maybe just a file from my computer here as well. Maybe these are my electrical specifications that I need to communicate out to my electrical bidders. And then I can go ahead and click back over to the bidders tab. Now, in order to add bidders, I'm going to click on this orange action button again. And what you'll notice right away is that it's looking at the area that our project is in. So that's that address that we specified when we initially created our project was Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And then it's also looking at the keyword of electrical here to bring up relevant companies. We can see here there's 131 companies that best match our filters, and that's based off of contractors that are willing to travel to this area that perform this specific type of work. We also have filters here based off of qualification statuses or union and non-union prevailing wages. Filters are available as well. And if I click into one of these individual companies, what we're going to see is Ontario Electrical Construction Company's profile. So what's really nice about the Builders Network here is that it's actually sourced in real time from the network members itself. So this also is going to replace maybe your internal systems. Maybe you have an internal access database or just a Rolodex where you're keeping track of the people and the companies that you typically work with. The value of the network here is that it's crowdsourced by the actual network, and it's updated in real time by the network, as well as there are features like suggested and edited. So we can crowdsource the network and make sure that all this information, as far as contact information, is accurate, and then updated in real time as well by people at BuildingConnected. So we can then add specific tags to companies. Maybe this is a company that I like to work with, so I want to specify that. I can easily do that at any time. But really the power of this network comes in where I can come into this list, specify the area, specify the type of work, and then have a sorted list that's exactly what I'm looking for, all the way down to the user basis. So we do have individual users that are listed here. So for example, if I wanted to invite maybe this electrical company here, and this is a company that I prefer to work with, I can go ahead and I can designate them as a preferred contractor. I can also go in and see this user here is an estimating coordinator, and I can make sure that the relevant people are being added to the project and getting the correct invites. Conversely, I can also specify if maybe someone I want to add someone to a do not use list internally. Maybe this is someone that I've worked with in the past, and I want to specify that I do not want to work with them in the future. And again, this is all private information, but adding bidders is as easy as filtering. I can also search companies, and there's a few other ways to actually invite as well. So I can import bidders lists from other projects. Again, the same way that we can import templates, I can import a bidders list maybe from another project. And then also if I just have a set of contact information, individual email addresses, I can copy and paste in an entire row from an Excel spreadsheet here as well. But again, just to really talk about that network here, we're able to leverage all of the members on the BuildingConnected network, and there's over 1 million users here, and then add specific users. So that's pretty much the process of adding bidders. At this point, what I want to do is actually click over into a completely built out project here. So I'm going to leave this project just so you can see what a more completely built out project looks like. So you can see here I have many different project scope specific bid packages built out here. And this is just a typical, maybe a tenant improvement project. And let's just go ahead and double click down into a specific package. I'll click into this acoustical ceilings package. And you'll notice that we see all the bidders listed here, and they're automatically sorted from low to high. And again, I can click on each one and get more information about any of these bidders with their submissions. And if you look here on the right, I also have all of the different history. So all of the information, historical database here, that's time, date, and user stamped. And what's super useful here at this point is we've actually determined the formatting of the bids that are flowing in via those bid forms that we talked about earlier. And now all that information is going to be able to flow in to the tool and then across to our bid leveling tool. So clicking on the bid leveling tool, we can see here that all this information is now standardized. And right on the screen, we can take actions like soft awarding a contract in the system, which will start to allow you to aggregate your costs and get an idea of what your total costs across the entire project look like. And this is really a great tool to approach the process since everything is integrated and all that manual entry that's historically done is virtually eliminated here. And really just to drive the point home, before BuildingConnected, this process was super cumbersome. I personally remember doing this process myself, working on a portfolio of projects, a nationwide portfolio of projects. And really this becomes your single source of truth for the bidding and leveling phases of your projects, and really helps to streamline the communication. So kind of just to talk a little more at a high level about this process here, we've gone into an individual bid package. Now, if I come back out to the project level, this process is highly repeatable across all of my bid packages. So for demolition and concrete, structural steel, I'm building out those individual bid packages. I'm adding relevant files to each one of those bid packages themselves. And then I'm utilizing the builders network to invite relevant bidders that are cross-referenced with service areas that they're willing to travel to, and specific to work that they're willing to perform. And then I'm going to go ahead across all these bid packages and start leveling my bids. So that same process that we talked about before can be done for each individual process, where we're adding bidders, identifying software works across all of our different packages, and then coming back out here and I scroll down to the bottom, you'll be able to see that we're aggregating the total project cost. So here's my budget numbers, here's my software contract. I can start going through and leveling all of my bid packages out and awarding right through the platform itself here. Now, really just to talk a little bit more about the BuildingConnected platform at a higher level, I'm going to switch over to this bid histories tab, because what's really good is you can actually look across your entire organization at all of the projects that you've worked on as an organization across your different contractors or your different estimating departments. And I can see every single bid that's been received or sent, including what office. So we have multiple offices here that are being tracked in this particular environment. And then tracking all of the dates, all of the project names and numbers, and all of this information is aggregated and centralized here. Additionally, we do have the ability to pull this information out. This is a little download button, which will allow you to download an Excel file if you need to pull this information into any other systems. And then last, just to talk a little bit about the analytics that are built right into the platform. By clicking in here, we're looking across all of our projects, and you can see this map populating with the projects across the map. You can see I have 477 total projects published, and I can see metrics like my win rate, also average fee percentages, and then I can see analytics here pertaining to won and negotiated or lost projects. If I just scroll down a little bit here, you'll also see that it's automatically tracking some of my top clients in a dynamic dashboard format. It's also tracking different market sectors that I'm participating in, and you can see those color coded here. Also tracking all of the different metrics of my different account managers across the organization, and then all sorts of other information. If I keep scrolling down here, like lead estimators, all sorts of information across the entire platform. So really just to sum up the entire presentation here that we've talked about so far, we kind of covered a basic project creation walkthrough, including file uploads, as well as building out bid packages, and really the power of bid forms themselves, and the ability to templatize and reuse that data across your projects. And then went over the crowdsourcing nature of BuildingConnected Builders Network and showed off the integration, the integrated bid leveling tool. And then finally, we talked about any need to extract this data to any other of your construction tools, and then also covered just a high-level overview of the analytics tool here that we just talked about. So really at this point, I'd like to open it up to any general questions about BuildingConnected, and then just really hear any feedback that anyone has.
Luke, great job. So everyone is muted, but if you use the chat box, you'll be able to ask questions, and then we can get some responses if there's any questions out there. Let's take a look here. You may have done such a thorough job that there are no questions. All right, well, we got a positive feedback, great presentation. This is awesome. So thanks for that feedback, Jay. If there's anybody else with a question or some comments, happy to hear them. If there are not, then what we can do, okay, hang on a second. Yeah, just looking. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any other questions. So, Luke, is there any final thoughts you want to leave people with in terms of the solution and just your experience? Right now, I know you've been talking with a lot of different contractors. You support a very large Autodesk team and partners like ourselves. So, if there's any other kind of comments or thoughts that you have about the Autodesk Construction Cloud, or in particular BuildingConnected, that you'd like to share, maybe what you're seeing out there from others and why this is being so heavily adopted?
Yeah, sure. I mean, just a little bit about the Building Connected Pro product, which is the demonstration that we talked about here today. I mean, this is really a digitization of a process that's historically done in a very analog fashion. I mean, it's something that's historically a phone call, a conversation, or email-based workflow, and just the ability to really centralize your project team and all of your projects on a platform that's going to allow you to leverage the data itself is really invaluable. And then just to kind of really just talk about the network in general, if we go back into that project that we use as an example here, and I just maybe pick one of these bid packages, and again, just to open up the invite bidders panel here, just to really drive home the point that this is a customized list that I'm looking at that's a best match for the actual project address, along with any other keywords. And these are all pre-populated. I can actually pick these out and then prefer my contractors. And what's really nice here is that if I click into a profile here, for example, this service area that I'm scrolling down to here on the map, these are counties that are designated by this company. So, you know, CE Tulland and Sons, for example, here went in and specified that they are willing to travel to this service area. So this is real information directly from companies that's providing information to, say, a general contractor, for example, where this client is looking, or where this customer is willing to travel to, and they're not gonna show up in irrelevant areas. This is really valuable because, you know, typically you're having someone internal to your organization really tracking this type of information on a conversation by conversation basis. And you can see here, this is an internal user that gave this. Just, you know, this is a hypothetical response that says, you know, these people never respond to our bids. So you wouldn't historically have this information captured if, say, maybe Kaylee here left the company. But this information would remain for, you know, another bid coordinator down the road. This internal information is really valuable to track. And again, this is specific. And this summarized list here of 105 companies that best match your filters, you know, this best match learns over time based off of your company as well. So the more this is used, the more this tool is used, the more that it's actually going to pick up on the way that you use the tool. And then again, with your ability to manually override things and exclude people if you had a bad experience, maybe they don't respond to your bids. So why are we going to invite them to the next one? And then really just to kind of back out to maybe the Autodesk Construction Cloud in general. Really, this is Autodesk has taken a big approach of approaching the construction industry in a really full lifecycle way, where it's really workflow-specific best-in-class solutions for particular workflows, but really with an overarching idea of connecting that data from team to team and from tool to tool. So the Building Connected Pro product is part of a greater portfolio of tools that's purpose-built for design, pre-construction, construction, and then ultimately operations. So
yeah, that's. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I hope that was helpful.
That's extremely helpful. I think that's a great synopsis of the whole thing. You know, I've been following Building Connected for a little bit. And if you look back, Contact does an annual survey of technologies being used out in the construction space, and they cover everything, right? I mean, not everything, let me rephrase that. They cover a lot of different types of software. And for the longest time, you know, the tendering bidding sort of software was very, you know, there was just no clear leader in that space when they started to grade them. So they grade people on things like, you know, hey, what are people using for project management? And then specifically, you know, documents, mobile in the field, all these different things. And, you know, people would respond to this. So all the construction firms, you know, people sign up and respond to this. And over the course of, I think it was about 2 surveys, or 3, sorry. So the very first survey that Building Connected showed up, it took them another 2 years to be clearly the #1 and by far leader in this space. So quite a success story just in terms of the adoption, which speaks volumes to the, you know, the ease of use. And the reason people tend to adopt things so quickly is because it's easy and because it works well, right? And it solves a problem. So yeah, that was a great presentation. Really appreciate you taking the time to meet with everyone today and share a little bit more about the Autodesk Construction Cloud and Building Connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to.
Yeah, that's great. And you know what? Great news. We get you next week as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, maybe you just pull up the last slide there that we had, just in case anyone needs some contact information. I just wanted people to have this in the video and in the recording. If you have any questions or further, need further information, there's my email address, phone number. You can get in touch with us. If you need to register for additional events, there's a great events page at solidcad.ca. So go visit the website to either sign up for the next session on this topic, which will happen next Monday, or there's a lot of other good content out there as well. We do Revit pub nights and other things. So certainly take a moment to visit. Luke, once again, thanks very much, and we will see everyone next Monday, the 22nd.
All right. Thanks so much, Andrew, and thanks everyone else.
All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.